All right. Well, first, I want to thank you two for participating in this interview podcast thing. I'm calling it the Life in Eorzea. So, since Shadowbringers is on its way, I wanted to get the opinions of people who are playing the game or stopped playing the game or, are still playing, and see how they feel about the state of the game and where it is and where it's going. It took a while for us to actually get this started, but yeah, we're finally started. So, first thing I would like to do is ask one of you, one at a time, questions. So first, if you would like to introduce yourselves.
Okay.
Oh, you do not have to use your real name, by the way. It's the internet, so if you choose to use your, character's name or anything, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh. Well, I'm Lynx Kittyborn on Hyperion.
Okay.
Not sure what else to use or say. Never been into you before.
Yeah, that's fine.
Senard Bennett from Hyperion here. I've been playing the game since ARR, so I've been, I guess I would say one of the old timers in the.
You are old.
Okay. All right, and of course, I guess I should have introduced myself first. I'm a terrible host. I am Zero Kurasagi. I'm Zero. We'll just leave it at that. Because I have a list of questions that I'm going to ask you all that are going to go into details on who you are, why we're doing this, yada yada. But I guess the idea of me doing this is I want to have a video that people can look at, people who are not sure about Final Fantasy or are wondering where it's headed now compared to maybe where it was when they left, or how we can possibly improve the game in ways, since like Senard has been playing for forever, so we will have a better idea of what needs to be done to improve the game. So, all right, Lynx, I will ask you the question first, then I will ask Senard, and then the next question I'll ask Senard first, and then ask you.
Okay.
That's how we're gonna do this. Okay. So, all right. What got you into Final Fantasy XIV?
My a friend gifted it to me because he also had it, and he said, why not play it? I end up playing it by myself eventually because I always enjoyed the Final Fantasy series, and I didn't realize how addicted I would have been.
That sounds about right. Senard, actually the same question. What got you into Final Fantasy XIV?
I've been playing MMOs for a long time. Started in WoW, basically old vanilla WoW. Always enjoyed MMOs, always enjoyed the social aspects in the community, and always been a real big Final Fantasy fan, so I was actually followed the development for a while. It kind of fell off the radar after version 1 hit the shelves and seeing kind of how, the reception was poor on that one. So I kind of shelved the idea of playing Final Fantasy, and then actually saw a video of it when version 2.0 came out. I said, you know what? I want to give it a try. I was tired of WoW at the time. Like, there's no other MMO that really just grasped me, so let me just give Final Fantasy a try and see how it works out.
Okay, that sounds about right. Okay. So, next question. Senard. Wait, are you okay with me calling you Senard, or is there another name?
No, that's fine. Go for it.
Okay. Senard, what system do you play on?
PC.
Okay, PC player. Lynx, what system are you playing on?
PC as well.
Okay, so you're both PC players. So y'all have been well, yeah, PC players. Y'all have all the luxuries of the PC player. Master race, whatever. I'm not jelly or anything. Lynx, tell me the backstory of your character or characters that you have created as to like race, gender, class, and why.
Actually started out as a Lala archer.
Oh, okay.
And I decided to switch to my now Lynx Kitty because I always played that type of class, one with bow and arrows. And so I don't know why I chose Lancer / Dragoon, but I'm glad I did because ever since then, that has been my main since I started in 2.1.
Okay.
Backstory is that I wanted to create a cute cat girl with a silly name, so Lynx Kittyborn was made.
I see. Okay. It's a great backstory. So you've only made just the one character, and you just changed it with the Fantasia?
No, I just remade it. Got rid of and I just made Lynx Kittyborn. I stopped at level 10-ish with my archer, so it wasn't really much. I just restarted it in ARR.
Okay.
But yeah. But now I have more characters than Lynx Kittyborn, but my main character.
Okay. All right. What about you, Senard? Tell me the backstory of your character or characters that you created, race, gender, class, and why.
This is the first character I created, and I've stuck with it.
Dog interrupt.
Yeah, so sorry. Our dog loves to yell at the clock at the top of the hour, and it just happens to be at the top of the hour right now.
That is amazing. It truly is. It's actually right on point. Okay.
All right, so yeah, back to what it was. I play Mel Makote. I kind of main healer and tank. When I created this character, I started out as actually a Lancer because I always played healer in other games. I said, you know what, I'm gonna try DPS. Got to level 10. I said, you know what, I'm just going back to healing. That's what I really enjoyed. And started with that. Kind of started tanking at the end of AR and really enjoyed that. So you know what, it's hard to choose between both. So I chose it. Why Mel Makote? I don't like playing just normal humans. To me, it's just always the same. Like if I'm going to play a character, I want something a little different besides just playing a human class like everyday life. So, but I do like them when they look close to human. Just maybe different attributes or different look. So Makote to me fit the bill. It's like a human with cat ears, cat tusk. You know what? It's close enough. I'll give it a shot. But yeah, as far as my name, that's my old WoW name I had for many years. I said, well, if I want basically, and I have quit WoW. If I want to quit WoW, I'll just keep the same character name. It has sentimental value to me, so I'll just keep it on till ever.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. I mean, I've had the name Zero, which can be quite annoying because it's a very common name. So, of course, I always have the issues of running into other zeros, but I choose not to change it, even though, of course, I'm old enough to make a more imaginative, creative name than Zero. But because so many people already know me by this name, I was just like, I started a YouTube channel. It's like, I'm not gonna switch it because that'll make things complicated and difficult for people to be like, oh, what, his name on this game is this and it's different on here. So I was like, whatever. So I just left it as it is. So I can understand that. Senard, how long have you been playing Final Fantasy XIV?
I played the month after 2.0 release, so I would say roughly, 5 years?
Yeah, sounds about right. And I guess it's a weird question. Why have you been playing for that long?
I guess the why to it,
Like,
I've basically been playing games my entire life. I really got big in the MMOs when WoW hit. Again, like I said, I enjoy the social aspect of it and kind of just lose myself into a game world, and this game is the game I can do that with. So I said, you know what? I've played other player games, single player games, I've tried other MMOs, but Final Fantasy just has that draw to me. I mean, there's times I'll take a month or two break, but I always seem to keep coming back to it.
okay. All right, Kitty. Same question. How long have you been playing Final Fantasy XIV?
I started in November, right after it just launched, so about the same time as about 5 years
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
Came just after the first Halloween event.
Okay, yeah.
So
Gotcha.
yeah, that's when I started playing, and the reason why is because this was at the time the only game that could hold my attention and was able to actually help me cope with the situations that I was going through at the time. And it really, really did make me feel, I don't know, good in a way. I felt like I was accomplishing something. And I made so many friends, so I don't know.
No, I understand. That's a good reason to keep playing. I mean, because it makes you feel good. You enjoy it, pretty much, and playing with friends. Pretty much the only reason I play my games nowadays is just to continue to play with friends, because you could do practically anything with friends. It's gonna be fun. Like, you can freaking get a magnifying glass and go cook some ants on the sidewalk, and you still have fun doing that. I used to do stupid stuff like hang out at Walmart until 2 o'clock in the morning just because my friend worked there, and it's like, yeah, I just had fun playing Pokemon on Walmart Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Okay. Lynx, are you playing other MMOs? And if you are, well, no, I was actually, are you playing any other MMOs outside of Final Fantasy XIV?
I kind of did at some point, but they never could give me the satisfaction that 14 did. I always been left wanting more. Like, I don't know. It just didn't cover that itch that 14 always gave.
Okay. So you haven't really been playing any
No,
other
as of
MMOs.
recently, no. I did try before, but it wasn't always for long.
Okay.
So.
Do you feel that the developers are making original content good enough to keep you interested in Final Fantasy XIV? I assume yes, since you're still playing it.
I think they're doing their best that they can. Recently I haven't felt, but before that, I would be on it every day. I wouldn't be even, the only thing I would be doing was like leveling, like before Stormblood. If I didn't have all my characters up to level 60, I would be doing leveling my other classes. I have things that I would want to craft, or I had other reasons other than raiding, endgame raiding.
Yeah.
But that was And then now it was, I think, I mean, I saw the Shadowbringers and it got me hyped up to try it, to get everything to 70 again. So,
okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now, leveling my paladin. That's my last tank class, and then I got 2 more DPS. So,
yeah, I think after 5 years, I'm kind of past that. It's just like I know that Square Enix is gonna keep adding on more and more jobs as time goes by, and it's like I don't have time.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. I mean, to each their own. If that's what you want to do, and that makes you happy to do that, like go for it. Level them all up. That is definitely not me.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I've learned that it's a niche thing.
I mean, you could obviously look at it and be like, oh, I mean, if you look at my player card, you can see like, oh, he was leveling everything until about a certain point, and then it's just like stopped. Yeah. But I don't touch crafters. This is it's not happening. You couldn't pay me to craft in this game. This is not happening. But that's a subject for another time. Senard, same question. Are you playing any other MMOs, and do you feel that the developers are making original content good enough to keep you interested in Final Fantasy XIV?
Yeah, so 2 parts. First part, I'm not playing any other MMOs now. I guess in the past 5 years I have tried other MMOs, but again, nothing ever just grasped me like this did. I hate to make it sound like this, but it's the closest thing to WoW any other MMO has ever done, and that's kind of what grabbed me. The large worlds, the in-game content, the regular content, dungeons, stuff like that. There's no other MMO that I can see out there, and I've tried pretty much all of them over the years that even comes close to what the feeling was. So,
I mean, you have other games that are not considered MMOs or like pseudo MMOs.
Yeah, exactly. But for the other part of the question, I think they make original content. Yes, I do think the content is original. Good design that I think, just me seeing other games over the years. It does keep me coming back. Unfortunately, with my work schedule, I haven't been doing a lot of in-game. I guess back in WoW, I was really a big raider. I was a big in-game raider. You know, a couple server first, ran a big guild, and did the whole raiding scene, all that stuff back when. But with my job and me getting a little older, I just haven't done it. I do want to get back into more in-game content in the expansion, and I do plan on that. The biggest reason why I haven't now is I'm usually on the road for my work, and I couldn't get a good internet connection with the Wi-Fi or anything like that. So I'm looking to get a solution for the mobile hotspot so I can actually play while I'm on the road and in the hotels and stuff like that. And I'll use that time to get ready for in-game or even do some in-game while on the road if the connection is good enough.
Yeah, definitely growing up, you see this a lot harder to be able to just sit down and play games all day because you got an adult. You got life, you know. Luckily, I don't have any kids, so I don't have that issue outside of work and, you know, other adult things that you have to do. I don't really have too much that gets in my way of actually playing, but even so, it is still difficult to do raiding because it's not just your time, it's 7 other people's times as well. So having to find time for 8 grown adults, most likely, hopefully, to do content and do it for a certain amount of time because it takes time to learn. So getting like 1 or 2 hours in a week won't be enough, obviously, to really get to the in-game content because the game is constantly evolving, and as we're now walking into our 3rd expansion, the raids are going to be more complex. The classes are probably going to be more complex, although it feels like they're trying to dumb them down, but that's something else. But it is difficult, without me dribbling on about nonsense, it is difficult to get people together to raid because everybody has their own lives and schedules and stuff. But okay. Also, Senard, next question. Would you consider yourself casual, mid-core, or hardcore? And if you are hardcore, what content are you hardcore with?
I would say right now in my playing the game, I would say probably mid-core, and I base that strictly on hours I play. I'm usually on every single day. After I get off work, so nothing's going on, I'm on. I'm usually on all weekend, both days, especially since the announcements and stuff, the new jobs, the expansion.
Yes.
I want to be hardcore to the fact of doing, in-game content like Savage, maybe Ultimate Coils, the actual Ultimate content. But again, like I said, my work, I haven't been able to. I do plan on trying to change that, especially on the road. I mean, when I'm at home, it's easy to do. But like you said, trying to find time to get everything done, and I'm kind of like Kitty in the sense of I enjoy leveling all classes. Crafting, no. Gatherings, okay, but all the combat classes. I like variety. I don't like to be stale with my gameplay. Yes, I will pick a class and play it in rating, but I do enjoy seeing everything the developers put into it. Developers put a lot of thought process in all classes, and I love to see them and try to learn what was the thought process behind that class and understand it, learn the rotations, the openers, and all that stuff. But I still like to pick a class to raid with, maybe for an expansion, maybe for a patch. It's kind of hard to tell on that fact. It actually depends on the rating as well. That's how I've always did it in WoW. I had one class I would play a lot of for rating, but I would level everything else.
Well, yeah, what was I going to say? It makes sense to level all the classes. Of course, if you're new to the game, you have no clue what the other classes play like. So of course you want to level them to see, oh, maybe I'll be interested in this class. It's like I leveled this class because I was kind of interested. Maybe I'll like how this class plays more. So then people go and level that class. But I'll get more into that because I feel it's kind of like my issue with it is, like I was saying before, I stopped leveling everything to 70 because I know that the game's just going to keep continuing. It's going to keep evolving. I think at one point Yoshi P said he wanted the game's lifestyle to at least be 10 years. We're only on the halfway mark at that, which means there are at least maybe 10 more classes that could show up. I'm saying like the minimum, maybe 10 more classes. Not including limited jobs, which is a stupid idea, but yeah. Okay, Lynx, same question. Would you consider yourself casual, mid-core, hardcore, and if hardcore, what content are you hardcore in?
I used to be more mid to hardcore until I would say last year. Right now I think I'm probably more casual, but if anything I would say I'm more hardcore about crafting and gathering.
Okay.
And with the, if anything else, would be mid-core with my Dragoon, learning my Dragoon, learning how to be better at it, because of the stigma that came with it when ARR came. And I still considered myself a floor tank, no matter what, but I always made sure that that was my way of being better, to show that I'm not like any other Dragoon that would be in your group.
Okay, I have two follow-ups to that. So you said you felt that you were more hardcore to crafting and gathering. What is it about crafting and gathering that made you stick with it and be hardcore with it?
To be honest, at first, I swore it off. I was just like you, I will never touch it. I didn't do that, and I didn't do it for the first year of playing. I was always, nope. And I don't know what happened. I think I had a friend dare me or bet me with starting to gather, and that's where it started. I don't really know why. I think it's like the thrill and the rush of just like, oh, I can do this. I guess in the same way when you're progressing in a raid, and you're just like, okay, we got to the next part, so let's see if we can go further. I feel the same way when, okay, I just completed one of the hardest crafts at my level at HQ. Now I need to do 2-star. Now I gotta do 3-star. I gotta get better.
Yeah, that kind of sounds like what Papyrus did to Undying in Undertale. Sorry if you never played Undertale. Undertale reference there, but yeah, he tricked her by challenging her to be friends with the main character.
Oh, yeah, my son played that Undertale games, and he would talk to me about something like that. Now I get that.
It's an amazing game. Whatever year it came out, I'm pretty sure it was probably Game of the Year. If it wasn't, it's just really underrated. It's a really good game.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going off into a tangent. I'm sorry, I do that often. Like, I'm not really talkative, but if you talk to me, then I get talkative. So it's like all my coworkers are like, yeah, he never talks to anybody. It's like, you just have to talk to me about something that I care about. And it's like, yeah, I'll talk to you. But if you're talking about stuff that I don't care about, like, you know, go Saints, sports. I'm not a sports person. I don't care about that. But all right, moving on. Next question. Lynx, what is your favorite thing about the game as of right now?
Mount farming.
Mount farming? Oh, so like you're speaking specifically the primals, because there are other mounts that you can get in other ways.
Yeah, no, I meant mount farming in the actual game. Okay. That and usually just playing with my friends. It's a lot of fun.
Okay. Yeah.
Those are the two things.
Sounds okay. So what? Besides for that, what is your favorite moment in the game? And what I mean by that is it could be something story related or something that personally happened to you in the game that you just always remembered as, oh, that was really awesome, or that was a moment that I'll never forget.
I'm gonna be really mushy right now.
Oh God.
And it's
right.
Pretty much the day Senard and I got in-game married.
That's sweet.
Because we met through Final Fantasy.
Yes.
And so we got it was when we were first on Zalera and we had all our friends there. It's one of the biggest, most memorable moments for me. I'm not gonna put him on the spot and saying what's yours or anything. It's okay. It's just one of mine because I never thought I would meet anyone.
Well, I know what I better say at this point.
Yeah, it's like, even though you said that.
No. But
yeah, I don't.
But no, that's for me.
Okay, yeah, I don't know if you guys know or anybody told you guys, but Desdemona is my wife from Final Fantasy. That is in our free company. So I can understand exactly what you mean by that, because we met through Final Fantasy as well. And that's not a story I'm going to get into at this point, because we'll be here freaking forever reminiscing. But okay, that was great. Thank you for that. Senard.
Well,
You've been set up, my boy.
No pressure, honey.
So first, what is your favorite thing that you like about the game, and what is your favorite moment in the game?
I've got two. The first one's real easy to me. Variety. Just the game itself. None of the classes feel samey, as you would say. The gathering, crafting, the variety, the bosses you fight, the mechanics. Yeah, there's some of the same mechanics, but when you first see it and just the variety of the game just still blows me away. Because I can get bored in a game very easily, very quickly. For a game to keep me like this for 5 years is unheard of as far as games, besides MMOs and WoW being the other one. But just seeing everything they add to the game constantly and just all the new stuff. I enjoy playing all three tanks. I enjoy playing all three healers. There's not really a class that I can specifically say. I can't say that. There's hardly a class I can say that I wouldn't like. I think Monk is the only one I wouldn't like. And the reason why I say that is, it seems like it may have changed the least amount. Among all the expansions, all the content, I think Monk has changed the least. So yes, they have new abilities and they have new openers and stuff, but I still feel it's very samey compared to the way it was even in ARR. Now, if someone else knows the class better, tell me it's different, I understand that. But it just the perception is it's different. I've got the Monk up to 58 or something. I was going to get 70 before the expansion hits, but to me, it still feels samey compared to, say, like a Dragoon has changed over every expansion. A mech has completely changed in both expansions and up again. It's going to completely change again. So to me, it's that. It's always just the change and the variety. And favorite moments, just not to tag on to her, but my favorite moment is from Stormblood when we actually went to the Azim steps for the first time. So me and Payne were lucky enough to not get caught behind the Raubon Extreme that happened. We were actually one of the few to get by and continue on with the story while everyone was still stuck there trying to get through the first player instance.
Yeah.
So there's hardly anybody there with us. We were by ourselves and just going to the Zim steps and seeing. I think it was nighttime we got there, and it was just amazing how it was. It just blew my mind that there's a place like this in the game. And like I said, I've been playing for 5 years, and I never got that feeling of wow, like oh my god, wow, until then at that point.
Yeah, the early access for Stormblood was rough to say the least.
Yeah.
Raban EX, that's what they called it.
Yeah.
There was a point. I think I might have a picture on my Facebook. If I can find it, I'll put it up. They had the community that was playing the game pretty much had set up a line in the game. So everybody was standing in line to queue into the instance one at a time. It was like, I've never seen something like that in a game. That was truly amazing to see something like that. It's terrible that it had to come to that, but it was still amazing to see something like that. And to add on to your other thing about Monk being the class that didn't change the most, you know, I know it's your opinion and everything, and everybody is also going to have opinions about other classes that they feel haven't changed. Like me, I don't think Black Mage has changed much. It's like even in the new showcase, they're still doing Flare, which is like a skill they've had since A Realm Reborn. So that's one of those classes I feel hasn't changed much. Like it's still about balancing the fire and the ice. Although I haven't leveled it, so I don't know anything about foul and all that. But yeah, everybody has their own opinions about stuff like that. So this is just for, like, you know, we don't have any Monk haters throwing shade at because what you said, you know, it's just an opinion.
Yeah, it's just opinion. I have nothing against class. You play it by all means. It's just my personal feeling to it. And to tack on that, I was kind of disappointed, I would say, and you may get this later, but just to the point, I was disappointed in kind of the Black Mage in the job trailer because, again, I felt like it was very samey. I'm thinking, okay, what's new? I mean, Fire 4 and Ice 4 was nice. Foul was real nice. I've played it and I enjoy it. But what is new, really?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like when you watch people do reactions, people who are reacting to these job action trailers, which I did not do any of that because I'm not an actual YouTuber. I'm a scrub. I know, I'm sorry. But people are waiting to see the new stuff. And when they see stuff that they haven't seen before in a game that they've been playing for 5 years, that's where they go, oh, did you see that? The new thing? So it's like, as you go through that trailer and then like you see people reacting to stuff, nobody reacts to Warrior because nothing really visual was there for you to see. Of course, they've probably changed a couple of things, like as how the skills and stuff work, which, I mean, obviously there's changes to tanks by not having a DPS stance, and that changes Warrior completely because they had skills that they can only use in certain stances. So, I mean, obviously Warrior has changed, but they didn't show anything really visually stunning that made people go, wow. Like, there were certain parts that they really showed off a lot more on other characters, and we'll get more into that on a later question, so we'll just leave that there for now. And I'll ask you the next question, Senard. Name one thing that you really hate in the game. Also, what would you change about the game if you could change anything?
Oh, this one's gonna be. This may get some comments.
Yeah. We get into that point. Just be ready for it. We get into that.
So quite honestly, to me, it's healing in the game. The one thing I really hate is healing in the game, and I can explain why and my feelings behind it. So, I mained healing in WoW, and I know the game. You know, someone say, "Well, it's not like WoW." I understand that. But when you go from MMO to MMO, a lot of them feel kind of samey on the healing part of it, whereas healing in Final Fantasy felt the same at the beginning, but in the end game, the amount of pressure, and I feel it is a pressure on healers, is the amount of DPS you had to put out plus your healing. I've never seen a lot of MMOs do this as far as, okay, you're healing and everything is super scripted, so you know when you got to heal and not, compared to, okay, you must cast this spell at this point in time to heal everybody, and then just constantly cast your DPS combos or spells, whatever you have at the time. And I've seen players get picked on in the forums, even in Reddit, all the places, even in game. Healers picked on, they don't DPS. I've seen the fights happen because of it, and to me, it's very polarizing. Between either you do enjoy it or you don't enjoy it. There's hardly an in between there. And I think the biggest reason why is there's no other game that really does it like this. And I mean, kudos to Final Fantasy and Square Enix for doing that. That they made something different like that. But the community itself has to try to come together and figure out, are you going to force somebody to do it or not? And I really think that the developers need to come out at some point and say, yes, it matters, or no, it doesn't matter, without having the community trying to figure that out themselves, because it's so polarizing. And I really think that's the biggest polarizing issue in the game as far as the community goes. Because you can say one way or the other, and just the forums will explode as far as people's having their opinion on it.
Yeah.
And how would I change it? I don't guess I would change it per se. I would think we just need some more clarification of what the developers really thought about when they went into this.
I could be on this subject for a long time about the things, because healing in most games you're a healer. You're supposed to keep the tanks healed and the party healed up. That's your job. That's your role that you're supposed to perform. But the way Final Fantasy has slowly gone down the path of it wasn't like this before. Like back in A Realm Reborn, doing like Coils Muhammad, people pretty much just stuck to their role. Like tanks just tanked, healers healed, DPS. It wasn't until later where the mid-maxers and the in-game raiders started maximizing DPS through all the classes so that they could clear the savage content easier. So as it progressed to become more DPS focused, it made it harder for the casual people or the mid-core people who wanted to raid or who wanted to, do in-game stuff. They couldn't keep up with the in-game raiders. So it forced the players to have to adapt the in-game raiders mentality, which is, as of right now, it's all about DPS. Like, there's a point where tanks didn't run health and vitality and just ran strength, and they were just like paper bags, but it helped out with the DPS. Like, they were more like DPS that had a little extra defense instead of tanks that had a little extra attack.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to balance a game, I understand, with these things in mind. I feel like that's what they're trying to do now with Shadowbringer. They're trying to bring it back. They're getting rid of tanks' DPS stance. They're getting rid of the ability to build strength to your accessories, which, as a person who's doing in-game, who was that content, I understand they're trying to help the floor reach the ceiling. They need to minimize that gap in between the floor and the ceiling, and that will help, but it also might upset the people who have gotten used to it, the people who've already been in-game raiding, trying to do maximum DPS with their class. But I don't know, it's only time will tell. We haven't actually gotten the expansion in our hands and seen what it's like, but I understand that whole mentality can be very toxic, and it's also why I try to help the FC members out as much as possible when it comes to learning new jobs and trying to figure out how to maximize their DPS or perform their job correctly so that they don't get griefed by randoms online going, oh, this healer's not DPSing, or oh, you know, this tank can't hold aggro while he's in his DPS stance, or your DPS is trash, you know, because you have people that are like the PC players, they have the parse, so they are parsing you and reading your DPS damage. You're like, oh, you're getting out DPS by the healer, you're garbage, uninstall the game, you know, that mentality. I hate that mentality. And I also feel like it's the fault of Square Enix making the game to fix that, to make it to where there's a way to teach people how to do their jobs properly. Like, they started with the Hall of the Novice and the Novice Network, but after like level 30, the game changes so much. Like, there are things that they have not even discussed, like tank swapping and how to use Shirk properly and how to do the things that the raiders are doing, or, you know, at least do a proper rotation. Like, there's been plenty of times where I'll see like a Dragoon and they don't have heavy thrust up, or they're not using their eye move that gives the DPS buff to somebody else, and it's just like I want to help them to understand why it is that they do this and why we do rotations a certain type of way, when to pop your buffs, but you can only help people if they also want to be helped. And I can understand the whole thing, like, oh, I'm just playing for fun, I'm not really trying to be hardcore, because you have people like that who are just trying to have fun, but at the same time, I don't want them to get griefed like some of my other friends in the past did, to the point where the game became so toxic for them that they just gave up on the game, and they just like, I can't play this game anymore, the community's too toxic. And I mean, that also goes for like the content. Like, say you have a new EX Primal, the game doesn't tell you how you're supposed to do the fight. It just throws you in there and expects the community to figure out how to do the fight. So that in itself is an issue, and you have people going, oh, watch a video before you come in here. It's like, why should I have to use some outside media to learn this fight? Like, I have the mentality to learn this fight just like those people had the mentality to do it before there was ever a video to be made. Yeah. So it's like, allow those people to be able to learn that fight, but then, you know, you're dealing with people's time, and like, oh, I don't have time to deal with you learning this fight. You learn, you know, people have different learning curves, so somebody learns slower than others. So it becomes a problem with that, and I feel like that's a problem that the creators themselves, the developers, need to fix in the game. Leaving everything up to the community is not going to bode well for this game's future, I don't think, because casual audience in any game is the bloodline of the game.
Yeah.
And people don't really think like that. They're like, oh, it's all about the hardcore people and the people who play this for tournament. They make most of their money that keeps the people making the game, because they can get paid to continue to live life and continue to make this game, is the casual audience. The casual people seeing the game and go, oh, that's cool, I want to try this out. You have to keep the casual audience invested in this game, so you need to make it accessible to those people. I'm going on another rant. I'm gonna stop. As I'm going another rant. I'm sorry.
No, it's clear that you are passionate about that one.
Yeah. It really upsets me, because it's really difficult for, say, somebody like some 17-year-old kid finally got out of high school and decided he wants to play Final Fantasy with the money that he's getting from his new job after getting out of high school, and he jumps into Final Fantasy right now at the start of A Realm Reborn. All the content that he has to do, on top of dealing with the community expecting you to know how to do your job, expecting you to know how to do every fight, and there's so many people I see that never get to the end game because they get griefed by somebody who's telling them, oh, do an AoE rotation. Most people don't even know what the word AoE means. Yeah. If they haven't played other MMOs.
Exactly.
So I mean, I'm gonna stop. Anyways, Lynx, same question for you. Name one thing that you really hate in the game. Also, what would you change about the game if you could change anything?
I would say the same thing about, the end game, but I'll broaden it a little and say end game not only with raiding, but also crafting and gathering. Because it's so off-putting for a lot of people. But I find it fun. But say you're just wanting to get into something, you don't know what to do. Yeah, they got a class quest to teach you and all that. You're supposed to push buttons to make the craft and all thing, but you're forced yourself to really figure out what combination, obviously, to make it work, and
how to maximize with the class.
It's basically when anybody asks you, if you ask a crafter or gatherer and endgame raider, what is endgame? Raider will say ultimate Bahamut, ultimate Ultima, or anything like that. 9 times out of 10, I will always say end game is crafting, because you gotta maximize your DPS and everything, but you also gotta figure out what you're doing with the craft too. But honestly, I would rather make it a little bit more introductory friendly when it comes to things like that with, end game anything, because
I didn't think of it that way, but that's a great way of thinking about it. It's not just about the battle classes. They also need a way to for any classes, gathering, how to min-max your class and how your rotation is supposed to be done. Like, they could easily implement something in the game to teach people that, but they just haven't. And it forces people to go on, third-party forums and let me check Reddit or just Google search what's the best rotation and find a YouTube video that shows me. So it is an issue that they need to fix.
And I understand that, learning it as yourself, learning as you go is a thing for a lot of people. But when you come in fresh and you have no idea what you're doing, pretty much, I was lucky enough to have friends to show me. But when you're by yourself, usually, you're basically, you don't know. You get overwhelmed, and then you get burnt out, and then that's what I don't like. I wouldn't say hate, but that's one of those things I would like to see a little bit of a change, to like try to get it a little bit more introductory friendly.
Okay, yeah, that's it's an issue, and I mean it is an MMO, so you should expect some amount of grinding in it, but that's also an issue that I have with the game. There's a lot of quests from the start of the game up to now, and then you get a friend who wants to play the game with you, but they have 5 years worth of content that they have to push through, or either they're forced to buy a jump potion, which I don't feel like is a good solution to helping people get up to where we are. Like, those people still need to know about all the things that they've skipped. It's like, if you're gonna give somebody the ability to buy a story skip potion, you should have like a summary that they give you of, this is everything you've missed so far in the story. If you're gonna give somebody a jump potion to skip up to level 70, you need to give them a summary of how to play the class at level 70. Because I had a friend who did that. He jumped into Stormblood, and then he bought a potion for like Black Mage, but he had no clue what he was doing. So it's like he was dying to like random mobs in the open world because he didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah.
And it's like, not everybody has friends who've been playing the game that can teach them. Maybe it's just some random person's like, I've heard, about this Final Fantasy game. Maybe I should jump into it. And they jump into it and they just get blasted by all this stuff that they have no idea about. So they need to figure out ways to help people close that gap. And not make it so taxing. It's like, if you're gonna sell the potions, like, figure out some way to make it not so bad, so you don't have people in dungeons and then it's like you have somebody who's brand new to the dungeon, but you don't know that they're also brand new to the game completely because they bought a skip potion and they skipped everything. And then you have somebody who's completely new to the game doing level 70 or level 60 content. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I'll ask you, Lynx, how do you feel about the Final Fantasy XIV community and why?
I like this community better than a lot of other communities, but I feel like with a lot of the changes that's happened, it's kind of torn it into a what's the word? It basically is, if you're not doing what the meta says, you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
That is unfair to those who don't care about meta. Like, I don't care about meta, and those who care about it, that's fine. We just won't be friends, or we won't do stuff, and that's fine. But I would rather a community that would rather, take the time to, I don't know,
to help the people
just
learn.
be a little bit more helpful, like
a little bit more patient.
Yeah. And honestly, but at the same time, not everybody has the time, and I completely get that. Senard does not have the time to do something like that, and but he's willing to help. He's that type of person. I have more time, so I can easily do that. But those who just go on the game to, you know, do the things they want to do, they don't have time to do stuff like that. But be more courteous about it. I've seen a lot of, I've seen the community go down a little bit at times, but at the same,
I'm pretty sure if this game was like SAO and everything that you actually said was actually said in the game, there it would be far worse. Like a lot of people, you know, they have to take the time to type up the things they say, and there are other people who are probably not saying anything but are definitely actually saying something about you.
Oh, I'm definitely guilty of
somebody.
that. I am so guilty of that. I will never say half the shit that I would say to somebody in the freaking game. But that's because, you know, it's just like, it blurts out because I get upset because it usually is about certain things. Like, why'd you stand in that AoE? It's clearly telegraphed. What's wrong? And then I see, you're a black mage. You got ley lines. Got it. I make that joke and all that, but I try my best to, you know, not get upset. But there are times where I be like, okay, I can't deal.
Yeah, I think that's everybody. Everybody has their little limit.
Yeah, so I don't say you can't. I'm not saying you can't feel that way or anything. Or it's just like, you know, be a decent person and not say it, and just be like, it's okay.
Yeah, because I mean, one thing, people just jump on people assuming a lot of things about that person. It's like, you have no idea what this person is dealing with, you know, what's going on, what environment are they in where they're trying to play this game. Like, they could be trying to play the game on McDonald's Wi-Fi and get robbed in the middle of them playing the game or something crazy like that, or you know, baby catches on fire, you know, who knows. You gotta be kind of courteous to things like that.
Yeah, be careful with your baby catching fire. Jeez. But no, it's one of those things for me. Is just that I've seen it a lot more in the recent years, but I think it's because, you know, more people are coming in, more people don't really, you know, are more used to different kinds of MMOs and all that, and they're not really used to the Final Fantasy community.
Yeah, definitely. Like, Final Fantasy is different from other MMOs because it's so mechanic heavy. So it's more about the trifecta of tank, healer, DPS, and it's all about the mechanics in the fight. So it makes it difficult for somebody to just come in and try to help somebody out, you know, like, oh, I'm gonna be over leveled. And I mean, I can go back into that because that's also an issue with Yoshi P trying to keep all of his content relevant, which, like, who cares about Tamtara Deepcroft? Nobody cares about Tamtara Deepcroft. Allow me to go in there unsynced, as like, not like me queuing in with my friends, but if I'm just doing the instance, let me be at the maximum of my class's potential. Yeah. It gets kind of annoying when you've learned. It's like, we're gonna go into Shadowbringer, right? So we're gonna hit level 80. There's gonna be a level 80 rotation, and then if you go back and do some dungeon where you only got 3 skills, it's gonna be weird. I don't know how they're gonna constantly have to keep that in the game, because at a certain point some classes just won't work if they don't have certain skills. But I don't know. I'm not a game designer. I feel like that is an issue with him trying to keep everything relevant and level syncing everybody down and item syncing people down and stuff like that. And the game being so mechanic heavy, because I played a game like DCUO. I played DCUO, and you can carry your friends through that game. No matter what you were doing. If you were high enough level, you could breeze through that. Let me DPS, burn this down, done. You know, maybe it might get at a certain level. You know, once you get to the end game, yeah, you need to have a tank, healer, and DPS. But when you're doing like old content, there shouldn't be a reason for that anymore. It's old content. Nobody really cares about, like, if you can do it if you want to. Give people that option if they want to do it, you know, synced at the level at the time. But also, there are people who just want to catch up to their friends. They just want to just breeze through the content, or, you know, forcing people who queue up for main scenario just for tombstones to have to watch every cutscene on top of being synced down to level 50 content. So you're halving half the moves that they have on the class, so it doesn't even feel right. But that's talk for another time. Senard, how do you feel about the Final Fantasy XIV community and why?
Well, let's see here. I actually think it's changed a lot. And what I mean by that is, so when I first started the game back 5 years ago, going through coils, going through the story, like Praetorium, you know, the main scenario stuff, it seemed very laid back and kind of casual. Heaven's Ward, I would say, is starting to get more meta. Yeah. And Stormblood, it's been nothing but meta for what I've seen so far. And
yeah. Again,
I wouldn't consider myself a casual player. I'm not. Again, the reason I say that is just the hours you put into it. Because I've seen more than one time, well, how do you know if you're casual, mid-core, whatever? And usually 9 times out of 10, the answer is your hours you put in. You know, if you put in a couple hours a week, maybe casual. You put in so many hours, whatever random number they want to throw, you're mid-core. And then if you're on every day practicing, you're hardcore, whatever.
Yeah, it also depends on how much time you have. It's like, how much of your free time do you invest in this game? I feel like that is what makes you casual, mid-core. It's like, well, it's not only just how much time of your time, but it's also what is it that you're doing with that time as well. It's like, if you're just like RPing, I mean, I guess you're a hardcore RPer, but then the people in the raid scene probably wouldn't consider you a hardcore Final Fantasy player. But in the RP scene, you are considered hardcore. It kind of just depends on what you're doing with that time and who you're talking to about it. So it's like crafters as well. You're a hardcore crafter. You spend most of your time playing this game, although you spend it crafting. You're still a hardcore Final Fantasy player, even if you don't do any raids. But if you ask a raider will be like, "Oh, you're not hardcore. You don't raid."
And again, and that's part of the mentality there. Just kind of like you said, it kind of dinged on me there. Is it seems like when people ask questions, so on the forums, third party, whatever, when people ask questions, it's like it always sounds like it's the raiders answering. I don't see a lot of the casual community doing that. Even the mid-core community, I see a lot of, well, if you're not raiding, you're not hardcore. Or if you're not raiding, you're not playing the game. Or if you're not raiding this particular way, you're not playing the game properly. And to me, it's like, how do you play MMO properly? You don't. What do you enjoy doing? Like you said, do you enjoy RPing? Do you enjoy crafting? Do you enjoy hardcore content? And to me, that's the community I don't like. Is it seems like everything is based off raiding, and to me it's sad because this game has so much more. Granted, yes, that is in game, but like Payne said, her in game is crafting and gathering. RPers in game is FCs that do nothing but that, and they meet every Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, do RP sessions, just whatever.
Lynx.
Yeah, sorry, but it seems like everything is come to that, and I've seen many MMOs try to cater to the raider mentality, like you mentioned, and it's the casual people that keep the game going. If you look at statistics that they've shown for this game, back when I think it was Heaven's Ward, the percentage of people that raid is very minute compared to the actual number of players. So if you think about subscriptions every month, how much money is casual players bringing in compared to, say, hardcore raiders? I'm sure it's a pretty big difference. But yeah, the community has changed, like I said, from casual to more meta to you have to do this or you're not meta. And usually, I think it may be more of those are the most vocal players. Because you always go in Party Finder and you're always like, for instance, Zerv ran X back in the day. Skip Sword or skip Sword. I mean, why? I mean, granted, yes, okay, maybe easier to skip that mechanic. But if you can do it with the mechanic, why not go ahead and do it and get your clear? and start farming instead of, well, you gotta be speedrunners. That's only like top 5% of the player base, if that. And less is that Ultimate Coils and Ultimate. Less people have done that. So I understand it's meta, but don't force people to do that meta. For instance, let's say Dragoon, for instance, just pick a class. I'm in that class right now. If Dragoon isn't meta, they don't want one. That's not fair. That person might know Dragoon from, and they might know more than anyone else out there might know okay, if this person plays Dragoon all the time, they probably know it. They can probably out DPS a meta if someone's just started playing. Because to be meta, you have to know the class and play it just like any other meta player does. And to me, I don't think there's anything in Final Fantasy, like I said, I haven't done Ultimate Coils, but there's nothing I've done, in-game Savage, anything like that requires you to be 100% meta to clear any content. I think any composition can probably clear any fight, unless maybe the Ultimates, and at that point, yeah, that's pretty rough content. You know that going into it. But the way, to me, Square Enix is wanting more people to do Savage. They want more people to do extremes, and to me, they're making the DPS checks and stuff like that easier, so more players can do it. But even though it's easier, it's still, well, here's the meta. You have to be a speedrunner to join my party.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mentality that bleeds down from the hardcore players to the more casual players, and there's no reason for it. It's like Ultimate. Ultimate is something where you need that meta. You need people to know what they're doing. They have to be able to mid-max everything. But I believe there was an Ultimate clear with like a Dark Knight, and people consider Dark Knight like the worst of the three tanks.
Yes, they did.
Because they're just like, oh, Warrior is main tank and Paladin is best off tank. So it's like, oh, we don't need you, Dark Knight. But then when a Dark Knight comes in and clears it, and people are like, oh, wow, this Dark Knight, he did. Because it doesn't matter. Like the meta, I hate meta in any game. I never play meta. I play what I think is cool and what I find is fun. And that's how I'm going to play every game.
Exactly. My same mentality.
Yep. Same.
All right. We have one more dark question, and then we'll be past this part.
Okay.
We only got a couple of more questions left, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Senard, tell me about a time you had a bad experience with another player.
Oh.
All right.
Oh boy.
I've got one that I've never forgot since Heaven's Ward first started.
Yep.
So, me and Payne, Kitty, we've been together pretty much since.
I have another name.
Been together 4 or 5 years now, and we always, on expansion night, we would always go to sleep early, get up early, and we'd be some of the first ones to get through it, and we'd get done within 24 hours. The expansion is done, we're max level. We've done it the last 2 times, we plan on doing it for Stormbringers, no difference. I remember when ARR was finishing up, we had some quote-unquote hardcore raiders in the group, in RFC. And they would love to go around and show their flashy Dreadworm weapons. Oh, look at this great weapon we got. Look at this. Look how much better I am than you. They didn't say that, but you could just feel it. You know how they were. You know them personally. Look how much better this is. Look how much better I am than you as a player. Okay. So I'm going through, and like I said, me and her, we finished Heaven's Ward within 1 day. We finished the whole story. We got level 70, or 60 back then. And I got a dungeon weapon. I'm like, you know what? It looks cool. I'm just going to link the weapon in there so people can see this, what they're going to get in the dungeon if they want it for glamour or, for it's good weapon for now. I post it, and within 3 minutes, 3 of the people, it was 3 people, 3 of the people that were around showing all the, oh, look at my fancy Dreadworm weapon, jumped to me, telling me to quit throwing in people's faces that I got this great weapon. I'm like, excuse me? So I almost got into an argument in the FC chat, and I said, you know what? No, I'm done. I'm not going to put up with this. Because I felt this was going to come anyway, because I felt things changing, the community changing at that point. I'm like, I'm not putting up with this. I don't want to be a part of this. So I finished the dungeon, didn't say anything else, finished the dungeon. I demolished my room, left the FC. I said, you know what? If that's what y'all want to do, because leadership didn't say a word, didn't say nothing about it, and this was some of the leadership in the FC as well. Like, you know what? I see the direction you're going. I don't like that direction. I'm gone. Oh, we didn't mean like that, blah, blah. I'm like, no. You jumped me for this. And you meant it. I could tell you meant it. Because you got upset because you didn't get it done that same day. That's not my problem. But you're going to jump me, whereas you're showing around this fancy raid gear you got, and I got a regular dungeon weapon? No. I'm done. So I left the FC, I went on to do great bear things, and here I am today.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was quite an experience.
Yeah, I remember that day perfectly. I've never seen him that mad. He rarely ever gets mad.
Yeah, people say that about me as well. So I will move on. Lynx, same question. Tell me about a bad experience you had with another player.
There are several, actually. But the worst one, I would say, would be when I first started playing this game. And there was this dude. He was one of the people that I would talk to a lot. Like, he was a good friend of mine at the time. But then I don't know exactly what happened. He pretty much started attacking me in a way. And it wasn't really like head on, it was more passive aggressive. And then I was just wondering what is going on. And turns out kind of had a thing for me, apparently. But I didn't feel the same way. And it hurt me so much because I thought he was my friend. That was the first time that I really actually had a online experience in a game that my first real MMO experience where somebody did everything they could to make me feel bad. When I was just trying to be a friend. And from then on, I was just like, I just told him one day, if you really have a problem with me, why don't you just come say to me, blah, 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 all that. And he basically, and I thought we were actually, having a conversation. He just, it was just really hard on me because I never had that happen before. In a game or in real life or anything like that. So I think that was my worst one because it was the first time it's ever happened and I went.
Yeah, and it was a friend.
It was,
or someone you thought was
exactly.
a friend. So.
I never had someone ever do something like that to me. So it was a learning experience and one that honestly I'm grateful now. But at the time, I felt like that was the most. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, as a female gamer, I know it's already hard just to be playing games and be like, hey, I'm a girl gamer, and guys be thirsty.
Yeah,
so yeah, I understand that it's an issue.
There are girls on the internet.
And there are no girls on the internet. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
So yeah, as I've heard countless amounts of I won't say the exact same, but similar issues like that.
Oh yeah.
It's like our original FC leader. I'm sure I told you guys about this before. Her name was also Kat, and it's just one time we were just taking a break from the game. We were just like, we're waiting for the next patch or whatever. So we took a break from the game, come back like a month later or 2 months later, and our FC leader is gone, and the FC leader has been changed. So we're just like, what happened? So our FC leader had a thing for another member, and I'm gonna keep this nameless to save the people's face, but they had they had a thing for somebody else was in our FC, and it got to the point where they just went for it, and then they got shot down, so they went completely negative and just went at it and then left. And it was just something that also crushed that person, because they ended up becoming the FC leader because of that. And I'm sure they also didn't want that burden placed on them, and then having to have that experience. So then they themselves left the free company and just went to a whole nother data center. So we can't even play with them anymore. And that in itself hurt me. I'm sure it hurt a lot of other people, because they said nothing. They didn't discuss it with the FC to be like, hey, I'm thinking about going to a different data center. You want to join? Or nothing. They just left, and that was just it. And we just had to accept it. And then the FC leadership just was dropped on Wingdude.
Yeah.
Wingdude, curse Wingman.
Yeah.
I just call him Wingdude, whatever. I mean, I actually just call him Curse. I used to call him Wingdude because that's what I thought it said. I don't know. I was blind that day. I came, I was like, Wingdude? Why'd you change your name to Wingdude? And it's like, yeah, that's not what it says. And I was like, oh,
we're all blind. It's okay. I can't read either.
Okay. Enough with the dark side. All right. Last couple of questions. Lynx, do you have any good relationships that you've made while playing this game? Also, are you still friends with any of them?
I've made a lot. Aside from Senard, I have 2 other friends that I've known since joining this game. They're both in the FC right now. And another that we met on a previous server as well. Actually, pretty much everybody that has joined the FC now came from our previous server. We've known each other since we started out. Most of them we don't know in depth, like in their lives or anything. But I would say about 2 or 3 of them have been my best friends since starting. They've visited our home here. They basically know the ins and outs of my life because I trust them that much, and they've had our backs.
Mm-hmm.
So, and even though we met via online, I consider them family.
Yeah, that's as a gamer and somebody who mostly spends a lot of time online, I can understand that, making a connection with somebody online. But for other people, I don't know who will be watching this. I think my mom might be subbed to me. Mom, hey mom. So, other people who don't understand this type of lifestyle and entertainment that we like to entertain ourselves with, it might be kind of foreign to go, oh, you met this girl on this game and you're going to move out to live with her. That sounds crazy.
That's exactly what my family thought too. When I met Senard, they always asked me if I was sure. Are you sure about that?
Yeah. Are you sure about
exactly.
It gets to a point, because I tried to do the long distance thing, it never works. It has to be a point where in the relationship you have to be together for it to work. So it's like one of you have to make the sacrifice to move to the other. And I mean, for me, I made that sacrifice. I decided to leave all my friends and go be with her. And I'm still friends with them, but it also makes it difficult because I'm no longer there in the same state as them. So it's not like, hey, you want to go to IHOP, or hey, you want to go check out this new movie. So if we don't keep in contact online by mostly playing the same game, so I have friends who I've been friends with for all my life. They're like best friends. Anything happened, if they needed a goddamn colonoscopy and they couldn't afford it and I could do it, I would do it. As simple as that. If they needed anything, I'd be there for them. But because I moved and we're no longer, you know, a jump, skip, and a hop from each other, it's more difficult to stay in those people's lives, especially if you're not playing the same game together. So I've made myself a bunch of friends. I've made a bunch of enemies. I've kind of lost contact with certain friends. So it's kind of all over the place with me when it comes to this game. But I've definitely made friends playing this game that I am still friends with, and I'm happy I'm still friends with. I would love to stay friends with all of my friends, but it's kind of up to the relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Senard, same question. Do you have any good relationships that you've made while playing the game, and are you still friends with them now?
Well, I mean, surprisingly, or not surprisingly, it's going to be kind of the exact same. So me and Lynx were basically in the same FC within the first month of playing. And again, pretty much everybody that's joined recently that has any kind of high level, it's not new, it's pretty much people from our old FC/server. Again, that's usually who we play with. We've been together since the first month. Some people come in later. A couple of them come in at the end of ARR, but they've been on Final Fantasy as long as we have, if not just a little less. And we've kind of all worked out things out together and worked out well, and we kind of enjoy each other's company. Again, like you said, it was really weird to meet somebody online. I mean, she made a sacrifice to come here, and it was several states away, so it wasn't an easy move for her, and it was just surprising. And I was going through a real dark time. I wasn't in Final Fantasy long, and I thought I was going to give up Final Fantasy. I'm glad I didn't, because the friendships I've made now have lasted 5 years or more. It's just amazing that, like you said, it's hard for people to understand it's not this lifestyle, or it's not their hobby, quote unquote. I've been playing games since I can remember, and most of my friends were online I've played with, and I've kept them over the years. But I'd say honestly, the friends I've made online, especially in Final Fantasy, I consider them better friends than anyone I've ever had in real life, because we know everything about each other. We know our problems. We were there for each other, compared to where I never really had that before. So a little different, I think, than most people, but definitely I've had friends since almost day one in this game, and we still play. And 5 years later, we still play together.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel like it's a different time nowadays, that a lot of the old heads don't understand with how fast technology has advanced. Like doing this right now, meeting people, chatting with them online, playing games with them, it's just like, being out and going to a bar or going to the mall and talking to people, which people don't really do very often, because the world is very scary and you never know with certain people. But I feel like it's a lot easier when it's online, because there's no commitment.
Yep.
Just like, people can always say something bad about you in an instant and leave and not be held accountable for it outside of maybe reporting them. The same goes for building a connection or a bond with somebody. You could build a bond with somebody and tell somebody your whole life, or maybe they tell you their whole life, and y'all build a connection, and then just be best friends that way. Or something could go wrong, and then the friendship is just over.
Yeah.
Which I've had that experience as well. But no, I've made quite a few friends. I've seen you guys have made quite a few friends. I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for Final Fantasy. I wouldn't have met my wife. I wouldn't be in this state. I probably wouldn't be here talking to you guys, because I would have had no reason to stick with the FC been with them for so long, or maybe I would have quit playing Final Fantasy already. I don't know. Who knows? But it is how it is now. All right, moving on to the next question. Lynx. Are you excited for Shadowbringers? And if so, what are you most excited for?
I get a Nidhogg joke. I'm so happy. I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
Yes.
Everybody that I've seen, that from the first expansion that we got, Heaven's Word, to now, is like, has jumped around on classes.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I stayed main Dragoon since I started it again. Like, when I first started Lynx Keyboard. And that has been my main. Never stopped. So, and everybody would always ask me, Kitty, what are you gonna get up first? Do you really need to ask? Pretty much. But for me, I saw my main 3 that I usually do is Dragoon first. And then I picked the healer. It used to be White Mage, then Astro came and I really liked it, so I started Astro. And then finally, I liked Warrior, but I didn't understand it. And then I picked up Dark Knight, and I really enjoyed Dark Knight just because it was fun. I understood it more than I did Warrior. But I saw all 3 of those, and I'm really excited to see how my Dragoon plays, how the Astro plays, and how Dark Knight plays. Those 3 are going to be my first to 80.
Okay, yeah. I can understand that. Senard, same question for you. What are you most excited for Shadowbringer headed up soon? Like a month away? Something like
that.
Yeah.
Oof. The most excited for, man, that's hard to put. It's be hard to put a single one on it. Again, for me, the reason I like the game so much is just variety. So just seeing the job trailer really got me excited. Class-wise, I can't say always. I started out White Mage through AR, picked up Scholar throughout Heaven's Ward and this expansion. Pretty much been Paladin always for tank. I do enjoy all 3 healers, all 3 tanks. Gunbreaker, of course, will be the new Flash. Everyone's going to love it. Or play it, see if they love it. My first 80 is going to be Scholar, and then I'll get Paladin up. Haven't DPS much in this game, which is weird, because I DPS a lot in my other games, but really been tanking and healing pretty much the entire game. So I'm really excited to see the pet changes, really. It sounds like Scholar and Summoner are going to be complete. I would say halfway completely reworked. 50% of it be different, because the pets are going to be real different, and it seems like you're going to be controlling your pets more than just letting them do their own thing. Like you're actually going to use cooldowns or use actual GCD to say, okay, pet, do something. So I'm very curious to see how those go. The mech, of course, is going to be the new hotness with the mech, a mech with a mech. You're going to summon the mech, Overwatch, all the memes with that, you know how it goes. So that really it's just, again, I'm really excited to get up early. I've already got vacation planned. Me and Lynx, we're going to get up early, and even if we do end up with a Robot Extreme, we're going to get through it first day and get level 80 within day 1.
Oh yeah, I don't think there's a single person playing Final Fantasy that is not going to be on for early access. I don't even know why they call it early access. Everybody who plays Final Fantasy is going to be on for early access if they have the ability to be on for early access. It's no question about it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, hopefully
the week of the 4th afterwards. I took the entire week off, so I would spend like 9 days straight on Final Fantasy at this point, just trying to absorb everything and okay, what's new, what's fresh, what's the new hot.
Yeah, I'm definitely sad to say that I won't be able to take that week off because I'm not as high on the totem pole. So of course all the old heads are like, oh, we get this 4th of July day off, but then we have the other 4 days that we have to work. But if I put in vacation time for this week, well, I only have to put in for 4 days instead of 5 because there's a holiday there. So, of course, all the people who've been there longer than I've been born took that week up, and I just couldn't take it. So I have to make do with, you know, what I can do. Yeah. But I'm still super excited for Shadowbringers myself. I've had issues. Like, the class that I've played since the beginning was been Paladin. And I've had issues with Paladin because it's the basic tank class. And it's like, when you've been playing a game for so long, it's like, I know the ins and out. I want to be really good with this game, but because of the way the game was made, like, in the beginning, nobody wanted Paladin. Nobody wanted Paladin in their raid groups because the DPS sucked. It was like, back then, they ran double warriors before they would run Paladin. And then, you know, Dark Knight showed up, and Dark Knight was in there before Paladin. It wasn't until Stormblood where Paladin started becoming, oh yeah, you could join the raid team now. So it's always been difficult being the basic tank class. And it's like, I feel like I've always been limiting myself by playing the game as a Paladin. Even though I love Paladin as a class. But I feel like I could do so much more. So with Shadowbringers, I decided that I was going to switch to main Dark Knight. Because, I mean, the class is still cool. I've always loved Dark Knight. I have had issues with the whole having to press Dark Arts all the time. It kind of gets in the way of your rotation to, oh crap, I got a Dark Arts this. All right. Oh, I got a Dark Arts this. I have Dark Arts on my hotbar twice because as a PlayStation player, it's very difficult because I can't just click it like you guys can. I have to use the controller to toggle through my hotbars and press the buttons in a certain sequence. I'm sure I don't need to really explain that.
Nah,
so it's a lot more difficult.
No, I understand. I play controller with... The only thing I play on a controller is my Dragoon. But I understand how it works.
Yeah. So it's like... To be forced in order to play Dark Knight, I have Dark Arts on my bar twice, so I have an easier access to it at all times because you have to press it so much. And then to see that they're completely getting rid of that, I'm so happy for that. I screamed out loud though when I saw that they gave Paladin a gap closer. I'm like, 5 years later, but finally I get a dash gap closer like all the other tanks already have. Gunbreaker starts with one. Like, it took me 5 years to get one for Paladin, but I digress. Whatever, Yoshi P is done now.
I think
at level 74, mind you.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So I was super hyped, and I love what Paladin looks like, but at the same time, I've been playing this class for 5 years. And I know I'm going to be really hardcore in this game, like I've kind of always been, at least in certain content. So I wanted to go in as Dark Knight and really give that a shot. But of course, I'm always just going to level Paladin in the background because tanks share gear, so it's not like you have to stick with one thing and you can't play the other thing. So it's pretty much going to be Dark Knight first for me. Paladin will be second, and then I've always chose Dragoon as my DPS class. So yeah, I am also very hyped about well, first thing I'm hyped about is Jump's improvement. It is faster.
God, yes.
Like, there's been so many times, and I know why the whole thing about Dragoons being the floor tank is a thing, is because of Jump.
Yep.
Jump has killed me so many times. You do the move, and then an AoE appears under you, and you're like, oh shit.
Yes. And you can't move for like a second.
You can't move, and then you try to move out of the AoE, and you're already hit.
You're dead.
So I'm happy about that. The fact that Blood of the Dragon now starts at 30 is great. Instead of it starting halfway, and you have to be kind of halfway into your rotation before you do it in order to extend it. So that's great. I don't know why that was a thing to begin with, but whatever. Heavy thrust has never been an issue for me, so them removing heavy thrust, I'm kind of like, whatever.
Yeah, I'm very upset about that though.
I mean, I've never had an issue with it.
Neither have I, but I like my heavy thrust.
I mean, if they just like make it a passive, or maybe give you another buff, I'll be fine with that as well. But yeah, and of course the new Nidhogg jump looks amazing. And I mean, I don't even need to explain Dark Knight. Like, they saved the best for last in that video, and I'm sure everybody was just like, it went so well synced with the music.
It was pretty epic, yeah.
And it's one of those classes that, like, not many classes have skills that are tied to the lore of the class, but now Dark Knight has a skill that's tied to the lore of the class, kind of like Summoner being able to use Bahamut and now also being able to use Phoenix is tied to the lore of Summoner and the whole Coils of Bahamut. I don't know if y'all done that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tied to the lore.
Yeah, no, I definitely. When I saw it, I thought, oh my god, it's Phoenix. I can't believe they got Phoenix.
So yeah, I'm super excited for Shadowbringers. With a couple of more days left, and we'll be in there. Okay, and my last thing, I'll do Senard first, and then you, Lynx. I want to thank you both for coming today. I appreciate you all taking time to be a part of this video podcast. I'm not really a big YouTuber, so I don't know how many people see this, if anybody. Maybe my mom will watch it. I don't know. I don't know. God, I was really distressed when I saw my mom sub to me. I was just like, why? But anyways, I have one final question for you both. Is there anything that you would like to say to Yoshi P or the development team? Not that they would watch or hear this, but if they could, what would you say to them?
Jeez, man, you need hard questions, Lord. Oh, what would I say? I mean, I guess really, it's from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for such an amazing game. I know the hours got to be countless for the work that's put into it, and probably always racking your brain how to keep things fresh, how to keep new content. You know, what's the good way to release stuff? Because, I mean, yeah, they had Final Fantasy XI, now it's 14, and there's a different audience, from those years. And it's just, I think they've done amazing with what they've got. I know Yoshi P said 10 years. I mean, honestly, I hope it goes on until I can't play it no more. I hope it just keeps on going at that point. I never want to stop. I never want to see it stop. I just want to say thank you very much for the great game. And yes, there's hiccups, and you probably got a lot of flack for it from the people, but I think the normal, everyday player loves Final Fantasy, loves the developers for everything they do, and just can't say enough how much we appreciate the work they've done in it.
Okay. Lynx?
Pretty on par what Senard just said. I want to say thank you for creating this amazing game from when it was pretty much a dumpster fire from the beginning, from 1.0, from what I heard.
From what I've heard, too.
Yeah, it was from what I heard. And they pretty much redid the whole game. And to see it now from where I watched videos of where it was, it's amazing. And I am so grateful to be able to experience this game and to meet as many people as I have and to go through it all. It's not easy, and I appreciate their hard work all the time, and I want to keep throwing my money at you. Especially those mounts. Stop doing the mounts.
Of course. I mean, please limit the totem count from 99 to 50. I think 50 is a good amount, but if I have to do another bird farm 100 times to help somebody get their mount, I'm going to kill myself.
Yeah, please do it 50. Maybe 50. It's good. That's a good number. I think halfway.
I think 50 is a good number, but 99, like, it's 99 for extreme on top of you having to do normal. So technically you've done 100 runs. So it's 100 runs for a guaranteed mount. This is crazy. Yeah. It's like, just lower that. It's like, I understand there has to be some type of grind, but the faster I can get done with a certain grind, I can move on to another grind. You know what I mean? I could do other things. But I digress. Yeah. All right. That is pretty much it. Thank you both for being here. It's been quite fun talking to you guys. I hope this turns out okay. I don't know how my audio sounds. I don't know. I'm kind of still new to this. I'm trying my best because I want this to look good for everybody who's going to be a part of this. Yeah. I mean, this is not just for me. It's for you guys, for new people trying to get into Final Fantasy, just anybody, or people just want to see what our lives have been like, thanks to Final Fantasy. Because I mean, obviously YouTube would have never been a thing if it hadn't been for Final Fantasy.
Yep.
So yeah, and of course me, I'm the same way. So yes, thank you for being here. And that's pretty much it. All right. Thank you, people of the internet, for watching this. Please, all the YouTube garbage, like, favorite, subscribe, share, yay. And don't forget, hit that bell. That bell, yeah.